In this video, I'm going to create a step-by-step guide for you to follow in order for you to create your own SAT study plan. I was able to raise my score by 220 points from a 1350 on my first PSAT to a 1570 super scored on my SAT. So I definitely know how to study. It takes hard work, but in this video, you're going to learn exactly how to create a goal score, how to set up a study guide and study plan, and even some tips on how to study and what resources to use. So if that sounds like what you need, then stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do in order to begin building your SAT study plan is to create a College Board account and take a practice test. Now you can skip the step if you've already taken an SAT or a PSAT because you already have a College Board account and you already have a score which you can use in order to use it as a baseline. But if you haven't taken the SAT or the PSAT yet, I'll go ahead and walk you through that process of taking your first practice test. So you're gonna go to collegeboard.org and you're going to create an account as a student. And once you've done that, you're going to want to go to bluebook.app.collegeboard.org and read their instructions for downloading Bluebook onto your computer. And so you're going to do this on a Windows. You can also do it on a Mac, I believe. If you have a school and Chromebook, they most likely already have it on the device, but you could ask someone at the school to help you be able to access that. And once you've done that, then you're going to want to go ahead and open Bluebook and sign in using your College Board account. After that, you can take a full-length practice test, which is pretty self-explanatory once you have logged into Bluebook. Make sure you have pencils, pad of paper, and a calculator with you on hand when you take that, and you have 2.5 hours to sit down and take the exam. After you've done that, review your results on collegeboard.org, which again, once you've taken the test, they'll give you some information on how you can review your scores. The second thing you need to do in order to build your SAT study plan, once you've gotten an idea of your baseline score, either from a practice test or from taking the actual SAT or PSAT, is set a goal score. So the way you're going to do this is to look up the average SAT scores of the universities that you'd like to go to, and to look up their sub-scores, their component scores, specifically the reading and writing score and the math score, and compare this to the score that you received on your baseline exam. If you don't really know where you'd like to go to college yet, then you should look up schools where the SAT score of admitted students on average is about the same as yours. And just do all of this on the big wide web. And so if you're interested, or those schools seem like they could generally academically and in the environment be a good fit for you, then it seems like your score could be a great starting place. But if you would like to try to improve your score and to go to better schools, then you're going to be looking at studying. So generally, even if your score hits the 50 percentile for the universities that you're looking at attending, then I would recommend you spend some time studying, because when you actually take the exam, your score will fluctuate a little bit, and additionally, you might be more likely to get in or to get scholarships if you have higher standardized test scores. So it's a good idea to go ahead and study a little bit anyway. If you have absolutely no idea where you'd like to go to college at all, you can't even know, looking up colleges with the average SAT score that you received on your practice exam, even that's not enough, then a general rule of thumb is to try to improve your score by around 50 to 100 points. That's not going to be too much studying, and it's going to allow you to have a little bit more opportunity and selection when you actually begin applying for colleges. So once you have decided what your goal score, so to speak, is going to be for each section of the SAT, then it's important to begin deciding how long it's going to take you to actually improve your score. The third thing that you need to do in order to build an SAT study guide plan is to decide how many hours it's going to take you in order to take your score from where it's currently at and make it the SAT score that you want it to be. A general rule of thumb is about 15 hours for every 50-point increase. However, if you have some major content gaps, if you have a harder time studying, if you don't have a great environment to study in, then it could take you longer potentially, especially the higher off that your score starts or the lower off average that your score starts, the longer it typically will take you to improve. But if you are a great studier or you start off right about the 50 percentile line, then it's very likely that you could improve your score quicker. But overall, generally plan to spend about 15 hours for every 50-point increase you'd want to make. The fourth thing that you want to do is go ahead and set some exam dates. And when you're planning on taking the exam, optimally you're going to take it twice. Some students may only take it once, some may take it more than twice. Many students take it for the first time in the spring of their junior year. I would recommend, if it's at all possible, not to take it in your senior year because it's really nice just to have it out of the way and not have to bother with it while you're also applying to college. But plenty of students will also take it again in the fall of their senior year. The absolute last time that you really should take it is in December of your senior year. However, if you're applying early decision or early application anywhere, then you're gonna want to take it no later than October. Plenty of students will take it in August or October, but again, there's a high risk if you don't get the score that you want in October of not being able to get into the colleges that you would like to. So it's best to not procrastinate and wait till that long. So generally, the last time I'd recommend planning on taking it would be August of your senior year, which would give you the summer to study, but definitely taking it one time in the spring of your junior year would be good, either in March, May, or June. Now, these months all fall during school season, so it's going to be difficult for you to spend very much time studying for the SAT. So this is where it's important to create a schedule and break down and figure out, once you've set some exam dates, how long do you have to study in order to get the hours in that you need in order to create your schedule and improve by the amount that you want. Because optimally, you're going to get all the study hours in before the first exam and then just be able to take it that second time in order to cover any gaps that you were not able to fill. For example, if your score was not quite as high or did not improve quite as much as you wanted it to. So in order to plan your study schedule, it's going to take a little bit of trial and error. Maybe you realize that you need a little bit more time to study, so you have to adjust your exam dates. So generally creating a study schedule is going to look something like this. If you have 1 month and you're trying to improve your score by 50 points, say you're going to study like 30 minutes all the weekdays and then 1 hour on the weekend. But for many students, they might not be able to study on the weekdays, in which case they might have to push their exam back 2 months and only study 2 days on the weekends for, say, 2 hours each, or 1 hour each, or something like that. If you are looking for a major score improvement, you're gonna have to spend more time studying. Likely that'll mean that your exam dates will be farther in the future, or you're just gonna have to spend more time studying each day. But if you're looking to get a major score improvement, that's what you're gonna have to do. When I say major score improvement, that's generally gonna be like 150 points or above. Don't feel scared if that's your goal. It's definitely doable. You're just going to have to be consistent and work for it. Generally, I found for studying 30 minutes a day was pretty good for me, and then 1 to 2 hours on the weekends. Again, if you're looking for that major score increase, then 1 hour on every weekday and 2 hours or so on the weekends would be an acceptable amount to study. And that's if you're during school time. If you're over break, then you're gonna wanna up that quite a bit, probably 1 to 2 hours a day on the weekdays or on the weekends. And of course, in order to get those hours in, if you're looking at your exam date coming up pretty soon, if, for example, you're starting to study in May and you're taking the exam for the first time in June, then you may have to put aside some of your school activities or some of your extracurricular activities in order to study for that exam. So I hope all of this has made sense. I hope it'll help you to be able to plan your studying out for the SAT, create your own study plan, figure out how many hours you're going to be spending each day, each week in order to improve your score, and how much you're hoping to improve your score by. I'm going to go ahead and finish up by giving you some of my exam tips and some of my study strategy tips that helped me to do exceptionally well on this exam. First of all, you need to be consistent. If you commit to a study schedule, you have to stick with it. That may mean saying no to some activities, saying no to hanging out with friends. Unfortunately, college is important, and if this is really an important aspiration and goal for you, then you need to stick with that study schedule. If you don't, it very well may mean that you don't get the score increase that you were looking for. You need to be consistent, stick with those study days, and be continuous. Go ahead and study every other day if that's the plan you've created, every day, every week. Don't skip a week or skip a couple days here and there and then restart your study plan. Be consistent, be continuous. The second study tip that I would have for you is to use high quality resources when you're studying. Some of the resources I found helpful were Khan Academy, especially for the reading writing section. Some of the old paper SAT resources were great for the math. And then of course, all the Blue Book practice exams were great, especially as I began to score higher. College Board's question bank was really nice, and the Princeton Review, Barron's, prep books, all of those were really helpful as well. You can't expect high quality results if you don't use high quality practice materials. Finally, my third tip for when you're studying is to study in a place that you're comfortable. Make sure it's a pretty quiet environment. Sometimes it's nice to have a snack. Maybe it's on your bed or in a comfortable chair. Just some place that is pretty relaxed, pretty calm, and allows you to focus very well. But make sure that it's not too relaxing, say, and you start to drift off or to have a hard time concentrating. If listening to music helps, then do that. But if you find that you're listening to the music rather than paying attention to studying, then you might want to turn that off. Again, just create a good study environment for yourself, and that's going to allow you to make the most of the hours that you put into studying. You've worked hard on creating a study plan and a study guide, so you should get your time's worth out of it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I hope that it'll help you to improve your SAT score and to create your own study guide and study plan in order to help you improve your score. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe. If you have any ideas for future videos, any questions, then please leave those in the comments below. I would love to hear them. Thank you for watching.